Prepare for IELTS speaking. About the IELTS speaking test. Structure and marking. Introduction. In this lesson, we will introduce the IELTS speaking test to get familiarized with how the test is structured and evaluated. In addition, we will also highlight and define relevant vocabulary along the way. This lesson is part of the Prepare for IELTS course. Visit the link in the description below for more. About the IELTS speaking test. IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System, and it is recognized worldwide by major institutions including universities, professional bodies, immigration authorities, and government agencies. IELTS is designed to assess the language ability of candidates who want to study or work abroad in countries where English is used. In this lesson, we will be referencing information taken from the official IELTS.org information for candidates brochure as our source text, which can be found at this website. Band scores. The IELTS test is intended to serve as a scientific assessment of a person's English language abilities. Candidates are tested on 4 language skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. The scores of each are then combined into one score, shown on the right. Although it is purported that IELTS tests are not designed to pass or fail, you need an average score of above 6, competent user, in order to be considered ready for work or study migration. IELTS speaking test structure. The IELTS speaking test is conducted as a formal interview between the candidate and the examiner. The interview lasts between 12 and 15 minutes and is broken into 3 parts. Pause the video to read the information about the test parts in the next slide.
Part 1. Part 1 is the introduction. It lasts between 3 to 5 minutes. After the candidate and examiner introduce themselves, the examiner will then ask the candidate several general questions on familiar topics such as work, study, family, travel, and other basic topics related to one's daily routine. Part 2. Part 2 is sometimes called the long turn or monologue segment of the test. The interviewer will provide the candidate with a pen and paper to prepare notes and a topic card. The candidate will be given 1 minute to prepare his/her talking points. The candidate will be required to talk for up to 2 full minutes on the topic, and ought to touch on some or all of the suggested talking points provided in the topic card given by the examiner. Here is an example of a Part 2 question on the topic of fame, celebrities, and popular culture. Consider how you would answer the question. Describe a famous person in your country. Talk about who they are and why they are famous. Part 3. Part 3 of the test lasts between 3 and 4 minutes, and it consists of a 2-way discussion between the candidate and examiner. The examiner will ask the candidate questions related to the topic presented in Part 2, allowing the candidate to clarify and explain their points and opinions that they made during their monologue. Continuing with the topic of fame discussed in Part 2, here are some examples of questions that could be asked in Part 3. What kinds of people become famous? How do people become famous today? What qualities does a person need to have in order to be famous? Describe the influence celebrities have on society. Are they positive or negative overall? Do you believe famous people are generally happier than the rest of us? Why or why not? Marking. Let's move on and look at how the speaking test is marked. Pause the video to read the information on the next slide. Skills assessed. During the speaking test, the examiner is assessing candidates' abilities according to these specific guidelines. Ability to communicate information on everyday topics and common experiences. Ability to speak at length on a given topic. Organizing ideas coherently. Use appropriate language. Ability to express and justify opinions. Ability to analyze an issue and make speculations. Marking criteria. Here are the 4 criteria by which the examiner can mark the performance of candidates during the speaking test. Fluency and coherence. Lexical resource. Grammatical range and accuracy. Pronunciation.
Fluency. Fluency refers to the speed at which the speaker is able to recall language. In other words, can the speaker respond to a question quickly, without needing long periods of time to think about the question and give an appropriate response? Fluency refers to the perceived amount of effort required by the speaker to respond to questions. These are some of the questions the examiner must consider when marking the speaker's overall fluency. Does the speaker pause for long periods of time? Does the speaker stutter and stammer? Does the speaker say the wrong words? Can the speaker talk at length without speaking repetitively? Is the communication natural and original sounding, or does the speaker rely upon reciting memorized phrases? Coherence. Coherence refers to the amount of errors made by the speaker. When a speaker can speak coherently, it means that the communication is uninterrupted and without other noticeable errors. Lexical resource. Lexical resource refers to the range of vocabulary available to the speaker. It is often the case that test candidates score highly in areas of reading and listening comprehension, but face major challenges when it comes to having full command of the language in communicative scenarios. In order to achieve a high score in the area of lexical resource, speakers should be able to demonstrate that they can communicate in professional and academic settings. Compare these 2 responses. The weather has been getting warmer recently. Carbon emissions produced by human activities for the past 100 years has altered the Earth's atmospheric composition. As a result, we are experiencing increasingly and often severe climate irregularities and an average rise in global temperature. The second response would be considered one that is more fully developed. Grammatical range and accuracy. Grammatical range and accuracy simply means possessing the ability to use a variety of tenses when speaking while avoiding common grammar mistakes, including subject-verb agreement, run-on sentences, sentence fragments and misplaced modifiers, wrong word usage, etc. Pronunciation. Pronunciation is the last of the marking criteria. Examiners assess to what extent does the speaker's native accent encumber the listener's ability to comprehend what is spoken. Can the speaker correctly pronounce words with clear enunciation, intonation, and articulation? Pause the video in the next slide to study the IELTS band descriptor chart. Try to assess where you might be in terms of fluency, coherence, lexical resource, grammar and pronunciation.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully by watching this lesson you have learned how you can effectively prepare for the IELTS speaking test and improve your communication skills overall. If you enjoyed this video, remember to follow this channel for regularly posted content. Check out the many other IELTS and academic English skills lessons and courses offered. Leave me question or comment, or just hit the like button to support my efforts. To gain exclusive VIP access to downloadable exercises or to arrange a personal consultation, write to me, or go to www.practicalenglishwithdarcy.blogspot.com for more.